Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up this screen. CYBL Cybl, little update on it. Pink current, question mark. What gives with the not being pink current yet? Let's find out what's going on with it. All right, folks, so the Dow Jones is trying to have a little bit of a comeback today. It's been awful for the last couple of weeks. It's been diving, actually below 30,000. It's still well below 30,000 right now. NASDAQ's below 11,000, but it is trying to make a little comeback, up about 1.5% today. So it's nice to see it at least bounce a tiny bit. And here's one of these big finance types. Stanley Druckenmiller sees hard landing in 2023 with a possible deeper recession than many expect. And yeah, it's not going to be a soft landing. I agree with that. As I told you yesterday, look, when you're spending money like crazy, like our government's doing, and printing, they're just printing money, hand over fist, it's going to create inflation. There's no way around it. You're just adding to the supply of money, and there's not enough product out there. So your supply of money goes up, and it just creates demand, and then all of a sudden the prices go up. And you also have huge inflation in payroll. So all of that feeds into the inflation that we're dealing with. And now they're trying to raise the interest rates to lower inflation. And you're almost kind of forcing the economy into a recession in order to bring down prices. Because, remember, the Fed has two things it needs to do. It needs to protect us from high inflation, number one, and number two is keep employment at a good rate. So they're trying to balance that right now. Inflation's way too high and employment's a little bit low, so it's probably going to do something like this. So by raising interest rates, that's their goal, is to try to find some happy medium. It's never perfect, and it's really a crappy job right now, but it is what it is. And I am glad to see things trying to improve a little bit today, but it may just be a blip, because I can tell you, for folks in the stock market, they're feeling a lot like this.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
Yeah, it sucks more than anything that has ever sucked. And between high inflation and high interest rates, dogs living with cats, we got all kinds of problems out there. So we'll see how it rolls, but we're going to talk about CYBL. Now, the last official thing we saw on their Twitter was September 12th, and it says, "We are in constant contact with the OTC markets and have filed the last minor update to ensure we are moved to pink current ASAP." And of course, that was a couple of weeks ago. For the 6/30/2022 report, we removed the options from Section 7 and added Note 3. And let's take a look at that. I don't think I looked at this last time. And it says, in the prior annual report, Cybl Managed reported that Mark Schmidt and David Downing had common stock incentives of 110 million shares to be awarded once the share price reaches 10 cents, and 100 million shares to be awarded once the share price reaches 25 cents. In the prior reporting, these incentive shares were included in Section 7 in an effort to provide maximum transparency. These should have been categorized as management incentive rights to common stock issuances at the defined share price incentive levels. Going forward, management will report these common stock incentives shares as management incentive rights. So obviously they would have the option to have these shares if they hit the 10 cent and the 25 cent per share. And given the fact the stock is sitting around 1 cent, I highly doubt anybody would have a problem with them having those options and being able to get those shares. That really wouldn't change much as far as dilution is concerned. Because as you look at the price, it's sitting around 1 cent. It's been bouncing between this 1 cent and up to as high as 1.3. So it's been right in this little category. And I've made my purchases right in here between 1.1 and 1.0 is a nice little corridor for picking up shares. Now, granted, this is not pink current, so it is risky as crap. Always keep that in mind. Understand, look, penny stocks are risky already, and you've got one that's not pink current, that makes it even riskier. But we'll get into why it's not pink current based on what they've told us. But again, I've got a pretty good chunk here. I've got enough to where I'm pretty comfortable. If it got down and hit this level again, I might pick up a tiny bit more. I don't know. But like I said, I'm very comfortable buying in this area. And just to remind you of why I actually bought a penny stock that's not pink current, it's right here in black and white. where they went from last year of $367,000 in revenue to $8.3 million, which is one of the biggest jumps I've ever seen. And their gross margin went from $143,000 to $5.6 million. And then even after expenses, they total operating expenses of $2.9. Their income was $2.6 million, which is fantastic on $8.3 million in revenue. Great margin. And even after interest expense, they're sitting down here at actually 2.5. This gain on stock return to Treasury, I'm not that concerned about. 2.5 million is what I'm seeing there as far as a net income. That's something that can be repeatable, hopefully. And based on what they've told us, this number should go up nicely. So that's why I was willing to take the risk on Cybl and go ahead and buy when I did, right between that 1 cent and 1.1. And what they're telling us, the reason that it's not pink current is that they were using an SEC format when they've been turning in all these documents, and they've been doing that for a couple of years, and they'd been pink current, but they said, no, it needs to be OTC formatted, and they've been working with the OTC on that. I don't know why it hasn't turned pink current yet. Based on what I can tell here, you can see they redid 2020, they redid 2021, and they redid 6/30, which would have been their second quarter, and I believe they redid their first quarter. So I think they've redone them all. See, they're all amended. There's your first quarter amended. Here's your second quarter amended, final report. And then here's your attorney letters with an attorney's opinion that they should be current. So that's why I'm willing to take that risk. I do feel like that non-pink current has been priced in for the most part. So that's why I was willing to take some risk. Now, as far as the shorts are concerned, look, this stock's getting shorted big time right now, and primarily from swing traders and day traders, because when you look at the daily short volume on this thing, it's been bouncing between 48, 66, and 50%. So it's getting shorted big time. And fortunately for us, I do have one of the primary shorts. He was willing to do an interview with me, which is pretty cool. And we're going to ask him why he's down on Cybl and why he's shorting it so much. So if we got him linked, we do. Okay. He's probably in that secret layer, right? He is? Okay. Well, that's fine. You'll see that. Mr. Short, I did want to ask you a question. Why are you shorting CYBL so much? And tell me your opinion on the market and everything and sort of what your thinking is. Well, if it is Mr. Frugal Investor, what a pain in the butt you are. I'm really getting about tired of you. Look, I'm trying to push these stocks down so I can rebuy them. If you know how shorting works, look, I go in and I pay somebody a little bit of rent. I take their shares that they're holding long term. I run off and I sell them. That's what I do, and I get the money. Okay, but I got to give that back to that guy I rented it from. So I'm going to push this stock down as much as I can. And you need to shut up, Mr. Frugal. I don't want any information coming out about these stocks unless I give the information, okay? And I like to go to social media, stock twits, and Twitter, and Facebook, anywhere I can go to push these stocks down, because I want to push them down as hard as I can. And, you know, part of me selling them, of course, helps push it down because that puts selling pressure on it. But I need to scare some people. I want everybody scared so they'll sell out, crash. Then I can come back and buy that stock real low, return it. I'll scurry over and return it over to the rightful owner, and I'm going to keep all that difference. And that's how I make my dollar bill. And I don't need you running your mouth out here. And look, I'm loving the market right now. I wish they would print more money, more money, more money. That'll crash that market real good, and I can make a bunch of money like that. I'm loving it. And just remember, Mr. Frugal, I'm keeping my eye on you very closely. And if you cross me again, we're going to have problems. You got it? Boy, the nerve of some people. You know, you bring him on the channel, try to be nice to him, and then he threatens me. Makes all kinds of nasty comments to me. That's how Mr. Short is. He's rough. You know, he's always screaming scam, scam, scam. Everything in the OTC is a scam. So whatever, Mr. Short. I don't know if I'm going to bring you back on or not. I'll have to think about it. In the meantime, we've got all our politicians out there letting us know there's nothing wrong.
Here, please, disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
That's right. Nothing to see here. Nothing. Everything's fine. Go about your normal daily activities. Anyway, that's CYBL today. Just a little update on the pink current status. Sounds like it's still sort of in limbo. Hopefully that'll change at some point. When it does, I think that'll be helpful to the stock. Hopefully it does. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover CYBL. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on Mr. Frugal Investor.